Straight up, Stefon Diggs is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Period. End of story. Roll credits. Production value. Nah, just kidding. But the Vikings' mercurial wide receiver has been the subject of intense trade rumors and speculation over the past calendar year. And is it a where there's smoke, there's fire situation? Certainly could be. Because everything, although everything did seem to die down around the trade deadline last year when Diggs started getting the damn ball. It's just weird how that magically makes everything better. But with the Vikings potentially on the precipice, nailed it, of a franchise facelift, alliteration. Sorry, I've been watching the O.J. Simpson, both the documentary as well as the FX show, and I'm really into the Johnny Cochran lately, where it's like, this is amazing. This is, I can't do alliteration. Anyways, but should the Vikings consider trading Diggs if the right offer came along? I'm back with all the beautiful tangents. Question mark. But let's look at the facts first. So, Stefon Diggs, 26, turned 26 in November, so still has the best years of his career ahead of him. Just starting to scratch the surface of his prime, coming off a career year with 1,130 yards receiving on only 63 catches, which is extremely hard to do. Chicks dig the deep ball. Yeah, so he's got 4 years left on his 5-year, $72 million extension. Currently, will have a $14.5 million cap hit with $9 million dead in 2020, and is currently the 13th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL in terms of average per year. So the Vikings overall have a bargain, which that's one of the great benefits of taking care of your players a year early, is that once you get a year, 2, 3 years into that extension, it really becomes a bargain. I mean, look at Danielle Hunter. He's making $14.4 million a year. Shoot, he's like the 20th highest paid edge rusher, which is ridiculous. But, the question is, why would the Vikings trade Diggs? He's, like we said, one of the best wide receivers in the league, just starting to hit that his prime, all that other stuff. Number one, so someone's not going away is the Diggs diva adjacent attitude. Now, with wide receivers, you do have to factor in that this is part of the territory, right? It does just happen. And also, Diggs diva attitude is certainly not on the level of an Antonio Brown. And also, I think it does come from a spot of competitive fieriness where it's like, hey, if I'm not getting the ball, the team is not winning. And if we're not winning, I'm very unhappy. So I think it's much more of that than Antonio Brown, or Terrell Owens, or even like a Keyshawn Johnson, etc. But, I mean, that attitude, $200,000 in fines for missing meetings and practice. Why do people just ignore that? That's a giant red flag there. And that $200,000 is a coda on a behavior, on a pattern of behavior that is no bueno and has gone on behind the scenes for an extended period of time. And something that everyone just ignores it because, Diggs is mic'd up and he says, don't force me the ball. So it makes everything just great, right? Number two, if the Vikings are either convinced that Cousins is not the guy or they can't keep him when he hits free agency next offseason, Niners, we're looking at you. If the Vikings have an opportunity to trade Diggs as part of a package to get their guy, potential future franchise quarterback, I think they'd have to look into it because I think as of right now, given the contract, given the age, and given the potential availability, I think Stefon Diggs is the most valuable trade piece for the Vikings at this stage of the game. So say clock rolls around, Jets are on the clock at number 11. The dumbest rivalry in football, by the way, Vikings versus Jets. Obviously, they don't need a quarterback. And say Tua has a draft day tumble. Say he falls out of the top 10. Certainly possible. Some teams will take him straight off their board because of the medical issues. But you can't deny Tua's clutch gene. I believe the accuracy is there, and it's amazing. Also, Irv Smith, #chemistry. Boom. So say Tua's on the board at 11. He's the highest rated quarterback / player on the Vikings board. And the Vikings are like, okay, let's move up and get him. So the Jets obviously don't need a quarterback. They could use some wide receiver help. You look at Diggs and Robbie Anderson. If they can re-sign him, that'd be pretty sexy at AF. So would they swap 11 for Diggs and some change? Maybe like a 4th-round pick? They have the cap space to do it. Would make a lot of sense for both sides. Or do we just say, F it, go all the way up? Say Washington number 2. So Cincinnati's going to take Burrow at number 1. They're going to ruin that kid. It's fine. It's fine. Write him off, draft bust. There you go. So number 2 overall would have the choice of the field besides Burrow. So would Washington do that for 25 Diggs and some change? It's possible. Washington is the often talked about landing spot for Stefon Diggs and all these trade rumors. He's even been part of the Photoshop. The brother didn't shoot it down. Diggs didn't shoot it down either. And Diggs is from the Maryland, Washington, D.C. metro area. So, I mean, if the scouting department loves Tua and has checked all the boxes on him. Sugarman clears him medically, and he's the number one guy on their board with a bullet, or even Justin Herbert, or Love, or Hurts, or Fromm, or whatever. It doesn't even have to be 2. I mean, we're talking purely hypothetically here. It could be 2, could be 11, could be in the mid-teens, could be whatever. Would Diggs be part of that package? I mean, it's possible. Like we said, Diggs is probably the most attractive trade piece on the Vikings at this point in terms of players and not picks. But quarterback, as we've talked about, it's the most important position in team sports. And also, it's the biggest equalizer. Because look at Patrick Mahomes. I mean, without him, the Chiefs are a 6-10 team, except against the Vikings with Matt Moore, because whatever. But with him, Super Bowl champions. And also, all those massive comebacks are because of Pat Mahomes. You ain't coming down from 24 down at home with Matt Moore at the helm. You just ain't doing that, or on the road, or in the Super Bowl, or anything like that. Ain't happened. So I get that Kirk Cousins, in a lot of people's books, is, hey, good enough. And I even say that you could probably win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins playing at an extremely high level. And also, draft picks have a 50% bust rate. You just never know, right? But also, you can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. You know what I mean? And that's actually why I'm good with teams that are constantly going through and just trying to find a quarterback, because a lot of people make fun of the Browns and say that Browns jersey with all the names of the quarterbacks since they came back in 1999. But, I mean, what's the alternative? What should they have done? Should they have spent 6 years on Charlie Fry? It's like, hey, Charlie Fry, Kelly Holcomb, we're going to give him 5 years because don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. No, ain't that. Plus, a good starting quarterback on the rookie deal is the ultimate competitive advantage in the NFL right now. It really is. Because imagine having 20, 30, $40 million extra that you can spend on other positions. Chiefs are going to find out how hard it is going to be to repeat when they do pay Patrick Mahomes, rightfully so, giving him $40 million plus a year, making the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. Oh, we can't afford Chris Jones. Oh, we can't afford Sammy Watkins. Oh, we can't afford Tyreek Hill. Oh, we're losing. Oh, we can't afford Honey Badger. Oh, the calculus suddenly becomes a lot more complicated, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. But the Diggs trade rumors, I mean, they aren't going away, and mainly because he doesn't do anything to quash them either. So I would love to stay in Minnesota. Wink. Yeah, that whole thing. So if the Vikings finally do pull the trigger, I would hope it would be in an attempt to find that sought after, whatever after homegrown signal caller. But your thoughts, potential trade Diggs? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support the work, pull us up in the Venmo. Let's give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skull, production value.